Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and today I want to talk about Dying Light the Beast. Now, let's go back a little bit first before we even get to the Beast. So, Techland is a company which has existed for a couple of decades now, and realistically, their biggest ever sensation, their rise to anywhere, was Dead Island. And Dead Island was huge. I loved it. Long story short, Dead Island, it's an island with zombies on, you gotta fight your way through and get off the island. Bob's your uncle, perfect. There were some sequels, but they were not done by Techland. Techland decided to move on from that project and they started creating Dying Light. Dying Light originally started on Xbox 360 and PS3, but over time they eventually got dropped and we ended up with the Dying Light we know and love today, which came out on Xbox One and PS4. And that game is fantastic. If you've never played Dying Light, I'm not sure why you're watching this video if you've never played Dying Light, that's a bit weird. But I would absolutely go and recommend playing it because it is a fantastic game. A couple of years after that release, we ended up getting something called Dying Light the Following, which was basically a huge DLC pack for Dying Light. And it added new things to it. You drive around and all that, monsters, whatever, new story. And it was fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant. And then we ended up with the complete edition, which had Dying Light and the Following all packaged together in a nice, neat little package. Roll forward a couple of years and we got Dying Light 2. And Dying Light 2 was a bit of a departure from the original Dying Light, but it was still enough like Dying Light to be very favourable in terms of reviews and how people liked it. Roll forward again, and we were told that we were going to get a nice big DLC pack, much like how the Following was with the original Dying Light, and this was called The Beast. Now, Dying Light The Beast was originally supposed to be, like I say, a big DLC package for Dying Light 2. But it kind of emerged that it became too big and they decided to eventually present it as its own standalone game. And from what I've seen in the trailer at Summer Game Fest, it looks cool, but it just looks like more of the same. Now, more of the same is not necessarily a bad thing, because there are plenty of games out there which are just more of the same and they are incredibly successful. Look at Borderlands. What can you say? I guess look at Resident Evil as well. Do you know what? Resident Evil is in every video I've been doing lately, but what do you expect? But Dying Light the Beast, although it looks absolutely amazing, just looks like it's more of the same. And I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be for me. I probably will get it because I love that style of game, you know, survival horror and slashing zombies, shootings or whatever. You know, whether it is a bit quick-paced like Dying Light or whether it is slow and spooky like an older Resident Evil. But I like that type of game. So Dying Light the Beast is probably going to be something that I will enjoy. My only worry with Dying Light the Beast is how quickly I might get bored with it. Because yes, I know more of the same is not always a bad thing, but too much of the same is boring. If it doesn't add anything to the experience, Dying Light the Beast should have just stayed as a DLC package for Dying Light 2. Also, why didn't they just move on? Why didn't they just keep the size of the original Beast expansion or shrink it or whatever and keep it as a DLC and then move or any new ideas they've got onto Dying Light 3? There is no doubt in my mind that people will want a Dying Light 3 and I don't understand why they've decided to actually make it a standalone game. It's not uncommon for this DLC package to grow and become its own standalone game. It's happened with something like Far Cry before. And in all fairness, I guess the Following of the original Dying Light could have very well been its own game. It does beg the question though, at what point do you think a DLC should be its own game and not a DLC anymore? I can think of a couple of DLC packs in previous games, you know, over the years that I think probably would have done well as their own standalone game and not necessarily as a DLC package. Obviously, Dying Light being one of them. But then you look at something like the Elder Scrolls games. Look at some of the expansions we got on Skyrim or Oblivion. Shivering Isles, for example, if they'd have expanded that a little bit more, that literally could have been its own spin-off game of Oblivion. But nevertheless, we ended up with it being a DLC, and that's okay. But a DLC is usually cheaper than a whole new game. So is this about money? I don't think so. I generally don't think so. But in some cases, when studios decide to release DLC packages as their own standalone game, yes, I do think it's all about money. But let's look at the Beast if it were to be a DLC package. How much would it have been? 10, 20, $30 maybe? Would you have been happy to pay $30 for that? I probably would have been. But now as it's its own standalone game, how much do you think it's going to be? 50, 60, $70? Quite possibly. If it gets priced at $50, I think that's peak. That's the peak of it. Any more than that, and people will start pointing this out and saying, no, that's ridiculous. There's not enough content there to warrant a $60, $70, $80 price tag. But if they release it as $40, even $30, that would be crazy to get a full Dying Light game at $30. That's not going to happen, but that would be an epic win. Like, seriously, that would be huge. It just, every game would be blown out of the water at that point. But it all comes down to how much content is in that game. And we are getting it soon. I'm very excited to see it because it does look amazing. Now, I can't remember if we saw it in the trailer, but I don't think it's releasing for last generation consoles. And that's a good thing because look, I mean, there'll probably be some screenshots throughout this video, but just look how good it looks. That's not going to run on PS4, surely. So it's going to be a PS5 game. Whereas Dying Light 2 was cross-generational. It was on PS4 and PS5. Did the PS4 version hold Dying Light 2 back? Is that part of the reason why we can't get it as a DLC? Honestly, I think so. I think that is the reason why we cannot have the Beast as a DLC. It is the PlayStation 4's fault. Yep, that's right. We should have moved on from last generation a long time ago, and we haven't. And that is the reason why I'm making this video. We have stuck around on PS4 and Xbox One way too long. We should have moved on years ago. And the reason, like I say, PS4, we can't get this DLC, The Beast, on Dying Light 2 there. We're going to have to release it as a new game. That's more than likely the conversation. Let's charge more for it. Okay, fair enough. You know, like I say, $50, $60, that's fine. I think that's going to be okay. It's not likely to release at less than that. But if they're making it, look how good it looks. Seriously, look how good this game looks. No way that was coming on PS4. They knew that. They made the decision. Hence, brand new game. And I'm not opposed to that. I'm genuinely not opposed to that if that is the case. If it is all about money, though, and it could have come to PS4 as DLC, and it is all just money, cash dollar, then that is a disappointment. But I guess at the end of the day, it's business. It is just business. It's how these companies operate. But seriously, the game does look really, really good. I can't wait to get hold of it. Let me know in the comments, though, what you think of this situation, having Dying Light the Beast as a standalone game. Because I know a lot of people are going to be quite upset and annoyed that it's not just a DLC package, when I think originally it kind of was announced as a DLC package. But like I say, for me, I'm not bothered, but I just want to know realistically why it ended up as a standalone game. But yeah, let me know in the comments your thoughts. And if you've seen this game at Summer Game Fest or trailer, whatever, let me know what you think of it. Is it something you're going to pick up if you're a Dying Light fan? Or does it look a little bit too much of the same? It's just the same stuff. Or do you think it looks actually a little bit different than previous Dying Light games? I know there's going to be a bit of a mixed bag on this one. People say yes, people say no, whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it. There will be some videos on the screen somewhere now. I don't know where. But there'll also be a little subscribe button. So if you fancy watching a video, they're there. If you fancy subscribing, that's there. Click the notification bell as well if you wouldn't mind, because then you can see more videos from me just like this. And until then, thank you so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate it, and take care.